Welcome to Lola Lee Chat. Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? Welcome to my channel. So I'm going to be doing a recap and review of the Auntie podcast starring Tia Kemp, Karlissa, Tokyo Tony. So this is episode 10, season 1. The guest was Joseline Hernandez. So during this episode, it gets really heated between Karlissa and Joseline. These two ladies did not get along. So first, the ladies do their usual banter back and forth. Tia confronts Tony, asking her why she was saying the aunties were broke. Apparently, Tony was saying that the aunties were broke bees. Tia wants the answer, and Tony is saying that people on the internet made that up. And Tia wants to know who exactly made it up. And Tony is saying, I didn't even know you guys at that time. I didn't do it. Karlissa teams up with Tia and she's saying, you know what you said. Put your cards on the table. Stand on what you said. And Karlissa is saying that she saw it and she saw the video of Tony saying they ain't got no watches. And Tia is not letting up. And she's saying that Tony is on the internet saying it's her show, it's her podcast. And because she has done more shows than them, maybe she thinks she's better than them. And Tony says her and Tia are not in competition, but she didn't say that she wasn't in competition with Karlissa. And Tony said to Karlissa that she is not going to get a season 2. And then Tia says to Karlissa, you got to fight for your spot, and laughs. So Karlissa makes it clear that I don't know who she means by we, voted Tony in with a very low follower count. And Tia is talking about Joseline, saying she got a PIMP mentality, said Joseline is aggressive, saying she don't play with her girls on her show, saying she's very, very serious. Then Karlissa said she is not really a big fan. And if you notice how Karlissa is dressed, she's dressed very mannish. She got a cap on. She's not dressed very feminine. She's dressed like she's ready to tussle. She got her sneakers on. And Karlissa explains why she doesn't like Joseline. She said, one time on her show, she told this girl to shut the F up and not to talk about Jesus on her show. And then Tony is kind of taking up for Joseline, and she just explaining that, if you're at a party and you don't want to be talking about Jesus, you kind of got to read the room. So Karlissa and Tony are having a bit of a back and forth. And Karlissa makes it known that she's been watching her opponent very closely. Her opponent is Tony. She's watching what she's doing on the internet. She's watching what she's saying. And then Tia and Karlissa, they introduce the Puerto Rican princess, Joseline Hernandez. And then Joseline comes out. She seems to be in really good spirits. She's shaking her booty. She's moving her tongue around. And so is Tia. She greets the ladies very respectfully. And she even came with bouquets of flowers for each of the ladies, which I thought was really, really nice, very respectful. Tia is very taken with Joseline because she says she's very beautiful. And she's saying that you would make a straight woman turn into a bull dagger. And I don't mean any disrespect by saying that word. This was the word that the ladies were using. So I'm just trying to give you guys context. But when I do mention the word again, I'm just going to just say bull instead of the whole word. And then Joseline makes it known that she knows what the word bull is. And in the back and forth exchange of all that, she called Karlissa a blank. And Karlissa checks her. She reminds Joseline that she got her sneakers on tonight. And Tony is saying that the word bull really means hard blank. And the ladies just kind of go back and forth. as to what they think it means, but Joseline confirms it means gay woman. And Tia wants to know, because it's an old term, what bull is called, and Tony said they are called lesbians. So before the aunties even start interviewing, it appears that Joseline has taken over the interview, and she is the one asking the first question. She wants to know who has been with a woman before. So Tia said she has never eaten cat before, but a lot of people think she has because she kind of looks like a tomboy, also because she does a thing with her tongue. Tony wants somebody to come and get the flowers, but Joseline wants to give the flowers that she brought to each of the ladies individually. Karlissa is feeling real special because Joseline gave her roses and gave the other ladies a mix of different flowers. Joseline said she wanted to give the ladies their own flowers first before anyone else gave it to them. Tony said that is what real women do. And Karlissa said she wants to dive right in and she wants to know the size of Joseline's chest. Joseline said it is 36 double D, but she hasn't worn a bra in 15 years. So the 36 double D is a guess. Karlissa says she's asking the questions because she's thinking about implants herself. Tia tells Joseline she looks great and she wants to know how she keeps her body looking so good. She said that she does high yoga and Pilates. She rides horses. At first, I thought she said hot yoga, but then the caption said high yoga. I've never heard of high yoga. I've only heard of hot yoga, so I don't know. And Tony wants to know how she has time for all that. And Joseline says, she's got time when she's not filming. And Karlissa is saying, rich people got that kind of time. Tony says she wants an honest answer. She wants to know who is in Joseline's DMs, especially with her look and the way she looks and the body looking the way it's looking. They ask her about someone, but they bleep the name out. So I have no idea who that is. But they were insinuating that that person was in her DMs. And Joseline says, I ain't mad at her. She might want to eat the box. So I have no idea who they were talking about. If you know, let me know in the comments. Then Tony shades Karlissa by saying that Karlissa wants to eat her box. So Joseline says that she would like to be a fly on the wall for that. Tony starts opening her legs, gyrating. And you could see on Karlissa's face that she wasn't really feeling that. So Tia says to Joseline, they be saying you like to do the snow. And Joseline changes the subject and says she brought another gift. And Tony is asking if it is coquina products. And Joseline is asking the ladies, have you never done no snow off some guy's car or your baby daddy's car? Tia and Tony say no. And Karlissa said she would like to try. And Tia said that Karlissa would try anything for Joseline. And she's saying that Joseline got her next cabaret person. And Tony is really surprised that Karlissa is saying that she would try. I'm actually really surprised too that she said she would try. So Tia saying Karlissa got a beautiful body, and Joseline saying yes, she does. And Karlissa is saying she still got it. Karlissa asked her how she got into the snow. She says everyone likes to have a good time, but everyone is in her business. So Karlissa explains that, she had 3 kids, so she really didn't experience that type of life. That life she did experience was very short. Then Tony says, with a name like Karlissa, that blank ain't did nothing. So Joseline gives the impression that she thought that was pretty harsh, what Tony said. And she's like, what do you mean she done nothing? And she's seemingly taken up for Karlissa at this point. So Joseline shares that she had a fake name, which was Chanelica. That was her stripper name. She explains why she had a fake ID. She was born in Puerto Rico, but raised in Fort Lauderdale. Karlissa wants to know how she feels about certain girls using the N-word. when they don't look like they should be using it. Joseline says she doesn't approve of a white Hispanic girl using the word. And Joseline says she identifies as a Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic woman, but she identifies as a Black woman first, then Hispanic, then Puerto Rican. Tony wants to know what Joseline's first impression of the aunties are in 2 words. Joseline gave an overall impression of all the aunties as cool and chick, but Tony wanted individual impressions, which she didn't get at that time. Karlissa asked Joseline about her accent. Is it real or put on, because she felt it was exaggerated? And she said her accent seems to come out more when she's tired. Tony wants to know how many men she bagged in the industry. She said her body count is 2. Also shared she's married. Tony wants to know how many blanks has she smacked in her lifetime. She said that it's on TV. It seems like a lot, but it's not as many as it seems. And she would like to introduce them to intellectual property because she owns everything that is shot on the show. She said she's the boss for real. And she don't have to fight. She also said she owns her show. She owns everything to do with the cabaret. Also said to, Karlissa said to Joseline, who are you comparing yourself to? Who are you throwing shots at? And Joseline again explains she does not fight her ladies. She does not have to fight her ladies. No one owns her. She is free pretty much. Karlissa again is feeling like Joseline is taking shots. She's feeling threatened. She's taking what Joseline said personally, and Joseline said she don't care who Karlissa thinks she's taking shots at. So Joseline says she doesn't necessarily think she is the queen of Zeus, but Tony did say she herself is actually the queen of Zeus. So Joseline is asking the ladies who is producing this show. Karlissa said that she is, and then Tony is saying that she's actually producing the show. And Karlissa and Tony go back and forth and argue about that. Tia asked Joseline about Amber, and personally, guys, I don't know who Amber is. I don't watch Joseline's show. So Joseline says she made history. She is immortal, unlike the aunties, and she doesn't care about Amber. And she said in the reality show Kingdom, she has made history. And Karlissa chimes in saying that Joseline only has one more season of her BS show. And Joseline tells Karlissa, listen a little bit, and I'm going to teach you how to get some money. The ladies are talking all over each other once again. And Joseline says she wants them to listen. She's telling them she works for herself. She owns her intellectual property. And then this is when things go left. She says that normally she wouldn't sit down and talk to ladies like Karlissa. She was pretty much saying that she was doing them a favor by being on the show. She said she would talk to Tia and Tokyo, but not Karlissa. She said she's there to have a good time, answer questions, but she just can't deal with Karlissa. And Tia said, Karlissa, you're always a problem. And Karlissa wants to know what she did. And Tia is trying to tell Karlissa what she did. And she's saying to her, nobody likes you. And Joseline gets up and walks off the stage saying Karlissa has bad energy and that she got nasty breath. So the camera is still rolling and Joseline is off to the side and still arguing with Karlissa. Karlissa said she's willing to switch sides. And Joseline is saying to Karlissa, just do the show right. And Karlissa is still maintaining that she has no idea what she did wrong. Tia is trying to tell her what she did wrong. Karlissa is saying Joseline was taking shots at them. Tony's trying to get Joseline to come back on set. Joseline wants to leave. It is a mess, guys. It is a mess. Joseline is still off stage, but they're filming her and she's telling them not to film her. Karlissa is saying she don't care. They don't need Joseline, and she's calling her all kinds of names. It was so unprofessional. So Tony goes off set and she talks privately with Joseline and she's trying to convince her to come back on set. Karlissa admits that she was drinking and now she's apologizing to Joseline. And Joseline's saying, just keep this woman away from me. So for the remainder of the show and for the show to continue, Karlissa is asked to remove herself from the episode, or should I say the remainder of the episode. So guys, this was very humiliating to watch, to see Karlissa. She's off to the side, sitting down. Joseline's standing up, and Joseline wants Karlissa out the studio. She does not even want to see her. She wants her out of sight. And Karlissa is refusing to leave the studio. Joseline saying she doesn't want her on the set because she's got bad energy. She don't want her looking at her. And well, Karlissa refuses to leave the studio. Joseline agrees to join Tia and Tony back on set. And Joseline continues to talk about Karlissa really badly, not in the nicest way, with Karlissa watching and listening. She's just sitting off to the side and she's not able to really interact at all because they are filming. She can't really defend herself because they're filming. And you know, time is money, right? So Joseline continues to say that Karlissa is very disrespectful. Joseline said that this woman doesn't realize how much money she's made for Zeus. She said Karlissa has done nothing and that Karlissa was sitting up there being jealous of her. So she's pretty much saying that there is no comparison to her and Karlissa. So the camera was zoomed on Karlissa and she was absolutely fuming. Joseline said Karlissa doesn't realize that she was sitting beside the queen. When her show wraps, her cast goes on tour. She said Karlissa was a blankety blank peasant to her. She was just going off about Karlissa, saying how her breath smelled like dookie. And Tia was sitting there just sipping on her tea, not saying anything. I don't even know if Tia was sipping tea at that point. She was saying that if she's going to be sitting up there on the couch with them, she has to understand that when the guests come on the show, that there are boundaries that she needs to respect. Joseline was just saying she just felt really attacked by Karlissa and she didn't really understand why. And she was also talking about her breath. Tia asked about the beef she had with Tommy and she said she didn't want to talk about that. Joseline made it real clear not to ask her any questions unless the person owns their own show and their own intellectual property. But I'm telling you, Joseline hates Karlissa with a passion, and every time she would answer a question, it would come back to Karlissa and a job about Karlissa. And then Joseline started talking about herself being immortal, basically talking about generational wealth for her kids and grandkids and grandchildren. They asked her what done cha-cha means. She said it was a made-up word that she made. Joseline shared that she is bilingual and she spoke some Spanish for the ladies. She said she's a real animal person. She got a horse. And Tia asked how to say certain phrases in Spanish. The ladies shared their zodiac signs, really started to bond, started to see Joseline smile. Tia is a Scorpio, Joseline is also a Scorpio, and Tony is a Libra. Joseline asked Tony if she's married, and she said she's been married for 14 years, but I want to know why we never see Tony with this man. And Tia says she don't believe it because she's never seen the man. She's actually named the man Casper. Joseline compliments Tony on her generosity, and it's actually true. Tony is very generous. Sometimes we'll see her, out there feeding homeless, giving money to homeless people. She does things like that. And Joseline brought more gifts for the ladies, a roller tool for their neck. And it's supposed to keep the neck looking really youthful. The ladies tried out the roller. Joseline said it can be used everywhere, if you know what I mean. So Tony's whispering in Tia's ear, and Tia's telling her it's exit only because the ladies were talking about bedroom stuff. Tony asked her more bedroom questions, and Joseline got more comfortable. She started being real goofy, smiling more. Tony asked if she was president of the United States, would she give us an extra day off to all Americans? or $1,500 a month, or add the electric chair to every state? And she answered $1,500 a month. I would have chose that myself. Tony wanted to know what countries Joseline has traveled to other than Puerto Rico. She didn't answer that because they got kind of sidetracked. But she also asked if she had any Dubai D. She said even before she was married, she never had a Dubai D. She has never been to Dubai. She was too busy building her empire and not being a thrifty blankety blank when and when she said that, the camera panned to Karlissa. They asked about her tattoos, and she said she got a lot of tattoos that they wanted to see, and she showed some of them. Tony wanted to know what her favorite song was that would get her in the mood at the club. Tia wanted to know what city she was coming to next because she is an underground superstar, according to Joseline. She said Houston. She said after the season, she goes right on tour. And Joseline was inviting Tokyo, Tony, and Tia to be a special guest when she goes out on tour. Joseline said she likes to think of herself as a person that gives people back opportunities. She said when she was younger, she was dancing and nobody gave her the opportunity. She talked more about her show, the dynamics of her show, and what people are going to be seeing this season on the cabaret. And when Tia said that they had to wrap the show, Joseline looked really disappointed. And she said she was having such a great time and she was so happy that they got rid of the problem, meaning Karlissa. So Tia said that they were going to bring Karlissa back just for the end of the show. And then Joseline got upset again and said that she would be leaving then. She actually motioned to get up and go, and they canceled that because they wanted her to stay. And Joseline said the next thing that's going to happen is that she's going to use her two-piece if they brought Karlissa back. So Tony continued to take shots at Karlissa while Karlissa was sitting right there listening. And Tia remained silent but seemed really uncomfortable with Tony taking shots at Karlissa. Tony asked if somebody were to flirt with Ballistic in Joseline's face, what would she do? So Joseline really never answered the question because they kind of went off talking about other things. You know, her husband's peen size. Tony asked when she was on Zeus, she was seen doing something with toes, and then Tony showed her toes. So for this segment, Karlissa chimes in while they're talking about toes, and she was saying that, is anybody going to say anything because the segment's getting boring? Then when they wouldn't do anything, she got up and said she had enough, and then she walked off the sideline she was going to go to her dressing room. But before she headed to her dressing room, a ruckus started. She started this ruckus. Security had to step in because I think she wanted to go toe to toe with Joseline. And she was saying that Joseline's dress cost $2. And she said her wig also cost $2. And also Karlissa was leaving the set. Joseline was calling her garbage. Karlissa is telling Joseline to shut the blank up. They were swearing at each other. It was so unprofessional. Karlissa said to both Tia and Tokyo that they were both fired. Joseline said her dress cost $1,800 actually, and that it was Emilio Bikini. And Tia said, yeah, she recognized it. And Joseline said to Karlissa, as she was being taken off the show, she said, you got kicked off your own show. As Karlissa was heading to her dressing room, Joseline said, Karlissa's jealous, bitter old woman. And Joseline said they shouldn't have her sitting up there with them because that makes them look bad. Tia asked Joseline for some advice, and her advice was to get rid of Karlissa. She said she got to go. She was asking if somebody could bring her some bleach to bleach where Karlissa was sitting. Tony asked her to tell her about season 5 of her show. She thanked Lemmy for another season and said how he truly changed her life. She said for season 5, they're going to Texas. They are bringing some of the old ladies back. She said season 5 is going to be a breath of fresh air. They will be different looks. The ladies are going to be of all different nationalities. Then Tia gave Joseline some advice. She said to be easier on the ladies. She said she has been an inspiration to women. So to just be a little bit more lenient towards them. And when Tia was giving her that advice, Joseline got very emotional. Tony had some advice as well. She said, just be unapologetically you, keep stepping on their necks. And in the way of philanthropy, do more, do real estate, go further, be bigger than you are right now. And when Tony was given Joseline her advice, Joseline actually got triggered again and started remembering Karlissa sitting there beside her. And she was saying how Karlissa was sitting there looking like a ghost or acting like a ghost. And she said she was trying to be nice. And she said, see what happens when she tries to be nice to people. They just come for her. So, that was the end of the episode. And this was the first time in all the episodes that Karlissa was not present for the exit photo. All right, guys. So I'm just going to give you guys a bit of a backstory. So this podcast was originally Karlissa's idea. She has been talking about this podcast idea for a long time. I have been watching Karlissa's lives for a very long time and doing commentary on her lives. And so originally Karlissa had taken her idea to Tronics Network, and I guess Ray J didn't move fast enough. So then she took it over to Zeus Network and they moved really quickly with it. So it is Karlissa's idea. And there just seems to be a battle right now between her and Tokyo Tony. But when you see when Joseline was trying to tell Karlissa that she herself owns her own show, her cabaret, she was trying to tell Karlissa that she owns her intellectual property for her show. That really triggered Karlissa because I do not think that Karlissa owns possibly the intellectual property for the Auntie podcast. I don't know. It could possibly be owned by Zeus, and maybe that's what Joseline was trying to tell her, and that's what triggered Karlissa. So when Joseline was saying she kicked Karlissa off her own show, she really did kick her off her own show. And see Karlissa having to sit on the sidelines, and there was nothing that she could do about it. It really proved Joseline's point. Karlissa could not have come on Joseline's show and did that to Joseline because Joseline owns her own show. But instead of Karlissa just taking the advice, being professional, learning from what Joseline was saying, because maybe the next show that she pitches, maybe she could do what Joseline did and own her show outright. Just learn from it. Study Joseline and then do the same thing. But I want to know from you guys, do you guys think that the show ran better with Tia and Tony interviewing, hosting? Or do you guys think that it ran better with Karlissa up there? I want to know from you guys. I want you guys to give me your honest opinion. Definitely let me know your thoughts. And I want you guys to know, I've said this to you guys before, I did not have the Zeus Network. I had canceled my subscription, but I actually got it again so I could do these recaps for you guys, these reviews for you guys, because I know a lot of you guys don't have it. So I would really appreciate it if you guys could thumb up the video, leave a comment, share the video, because these recaps take a lot of work. They really do. So please show me your appreciation by commenting, like I said, even subscribing as well. That would be great. And also, I happen to have the live. This was after Karlissa did the taping of this interview with Joseline. This was on May the 30th, 2024. It's Karlissa basically talking about what happened with Joseline running her off her show. Yes, it's an old video, So if you guys are interested in watching it, I will link it in my description. I'll also pin it in my comment section. So go check that out if you like. And thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.